So this is like the 4 p.m., which means this is where we almost debrief a little bit sometimes. I discerned a lot of strange activity in the 1:30 p.m. service. Did anybody else here discern anything was kind of funky? What happened, one of the things that happened to me was there was a spirit of slumber. Did you discern that, Jeff? A spirit of slumber. I know Ramika did too. And I literally felt like I was going to fall asleep. So I'm kind of marching back and forth, like praying in tongues. And I'm like, I even texted Prophetess and said, pray, because there's a spirit of slumber. And that spirit of slumber, it's sort of like a cousin of witchcraft, because witchcraft will make you fall asleep, even though you're wide awake, even though you've drank coffee and everything. But there was a spirit of slumber. And many times what happens is, and we have to remember that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but people bring things in with them. And so sometimes people can come into an atmosphere that's glorious, right? And kind of put a kink. When you were a kid, you could kink the hose. If you grew up in the days I did, you used to drink from the water hose outside, and you could kink it to where it wouldn't flow, right? You drank from the water hose? Amen. And so it puts a kink in the spiritual atmosphere. And so now if you're not sensitive to the spiritual atmosphere, it won't faze you. You might feel the effect, but you'll just think it's you. You'll just think it's you. But when you discern and you're familiar and you understand dynamics of the spirit realm, you'll know it's not you, which in some ways is more disturbing because you can't always do anything about it. When we're in worship, a lot of that is masked. In other words, you might kind of feel it, but because of the worship that's rising, it's sort of the worship supersedes or overpowers what's going on. And then what happens is when that's happening in an atmosphere, when I get up here after that, you see it's like because the worship stopped. So now all the people with all the demons who don't know they have demons necessarily, all the people that brought in whatever they brought in with, they don't know it. They're not trying to do anything. It's part of having a church. Everybody's welcome. And you're going to see people come in with all kinds of things. They probably don't know it. They don't mean any harm. It's the demons. And so what we need to do is we need to have more prayer going forth in between the services. So that, because the first service is usually not like that. It's a lot of times the second service, because there's fewer people and it becomes more obvious. The more people you have, the less impact one or two are going to make. So if you have a stadium full of people and you had 1,000 that were off, you wouldn't feel it. But if you have 5 people and one of them's off, you're going to feel it. So some of you who stick around in between services, some of you might want to just pace and just pray. And we might want to do that because what's happening is it's hindering the word from coming forth, which is what the assignment is against. The assignment is not against the worship. I mean, it might be, but the assignment is against the word, right? That's why you felt, and that's not the first time that I've experienced that, which makes it very difficult because I'm literally, and I can handle it, but what's happening is, some of you that are preachers, what's happening is, I'm just getting hit with apathy, slumber spirit, witchcraft, this, that, the other. And I'm trying to teach and plow through a thing at the same time. And I can't always stop the service and deal with it. Now, sometimes I will. Sometimes you see me do that. That's when it gets to the point that, okay, I'm stumbling and bumbling and I can't think straight. Then I'm going to stop. Normally, you barrel through. You just barrel through. So some of you need to ask the Lord, make you, well, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. Ask the Lord, make you more sensitive to the spirit realm, but then you're going to begin to sense all this. Maybe they say ignorance is bliss. I don't really think so. I don't think so. But in some cases, it's almost like, oh yeah, I kind of wish I didn't know that, right? But now you do. So this was just a MINI mini lesson on spiritual climates and how one person, whether they mean to or not, can sully or sour. It's almost like a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? If I put 1 drop of poison in your cup of coffee, that's enough. It doesn't have to be, right? So that's what you saw this afternoon. And that's what I was dealing with this afternoon. So it's just an interesting dynamic. Those are the things that people don't teach you in regular church, but I wanted you to hear that so that you would understand that as well.